Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and we've got a lot more spoilers for Jumpstart because, well, there's over 600 cards in the set. So I'm definitely going to burn through these. I'm not going to look at like every individual card, but they will be up on screen. They did kind of spoil these now finally in like the packs that they're in, or the category, the group, the seed, whatever you want to call it. But some of them don't appear to be complete. Like if I were to start with the first one, Heavily Armored, I don't think that those are the only cards you could pull. In fact, it's a 20 card pack. I think they said 7 or 8 would be lands, but it varies. It varies based on the CMC and the color fixing necessity, so not every pack will have the same number of lands. But I doubt it's 4 cards and then 16 lands, so I don't think this is all of Heavily Armored, which makes me wonder, why did they send this person half the spoilers? I guess they just had too many people. I would have just shortlisted it and just been like, oh, we have this many unique pack builds. Send it to this many people. So at some point, somebody's probably going to spoil the other half of Heavily Armored, I guess. But some of them appear to have enough to show all the variations that you could possibly pull. Like there will be like 4 different variations, so it'll look like a lot of cards, but you're not going to get all of them in one booster. So with that said, let's jump into it. There might be some repeats too, because now that they're in categories like, oh, here's Feat of Resistance again. But, well, I can't control how they post these. So we've got Cathar's Crusade. I mean, pretty cool. It's whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Pretty powerful. I mean, it costs 5, but it's pretty powerful. It itself isn't a creature, but that kind of protects it from getting blown up, so I like that. Then we got Patron of the Valiant. Pretty sure that's a reprint. I think I've seen that before. It's 4/4 flyer for 5, and when it enters the battlefield, put a counter on each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. So there's some, get it in the right order stuff there. Then Lightwalker has flying as long as it has a 1/1 counter on it. So you can see how it's a very central, easy to understand theme. And remember, this was kind of supposed to be for new players, but they never do like a true dedicated new player product except for, I guess, the welcome decks. Even those are changing, by the way. And then Feat of Resistance involves, protection. It's a bit of a counter spell. You get the counter too. So you can see how this all comes together. Next up, we've got a little peek at Jumpstart Phyrexians. And let me just say, you know how I just said this is a set for new people? It's kind of low power. Like there's a lot of, 2 damage for 4 like in Tumor Exarch here. That must have all gone straight out the window at some point. Because I caught a glimpse of some of the more like, whoa, reprints here. And at a certain point, they said, let's drop that entire idea and just make it Commander Masters. Let's just put $60 cards in here and people will buy it to open it and screw new people. This went off a cliff real quick. So first up in here, we've got Sheoldred Whispering One, which is a reprint. Pretty powerful card, pretty expensive. And she has Swamp Walk with the reminder, this creature can't be blocked as long as defending player controls a swamp. Okay, 2 things wrong with that. 1, they said they are never going to print again a mechanic that says, hey, depending upon who you just happen to get matched up against, whatever deck they happen to be running, whoever you happen to sit down and play against, that determines whether this card does something or nothing. Or that determines if your deck has a huge advantage or a bunch of your cards you're drawing dead. And I mean, it's not like you need Swamp Walk to swing with her. I mean, it's, it's a big bonus, but it only works if your opponent is playing black. And then otherwise, you don't get that. And they said that's just stupid. That's 100% luck, 0% skill. It's just, oh, what deck did you get matched up against? Oh, you have a giant advantage now. Wow, what good decision-making and mulligan determinations and deck-building skill. Like, what? And then we've got Mark Rosewater saying, somebody asked, anti-banning ball, whatever, Landwalk. Are all of these X-Evergreen mechanics a 10 on the Storm scale? And Mark says, no, 9, which is still, like, they're never going to reprint it. They are never going to do Island Walk, Swamp Walk, Forest Walk, never printing those ever again. And then here again, is non-basic Landwalk retired too, or other variations? He says all Landwalk is retired. So not just what they're asking about, but all Landwalk period is retired from the game. I gotta say, it's not terrifically confusing of a mechanic, it's just annoying, inconsistent, and stupid. Plus, unblockable creatures are just inherently a little much, you know what I mean? If you can't block them, that's like the definition of a non-interactive thing. You don't want too many non-interactive things in your game. I mean, you gotta have some power somewhere, but a 6/6 that can't be blocked is like not messing around. Now that said, this is a reprint from a long time ago. So it's like, should they have thrown it in? No. But did it need a reprint? Yes. So that's why I said they just must have said this is a new person friendly, low-powered thing. And they're like, well, on the other hand, Commander Masters. Or I should say Eternal Masters. This is now Eternal Masters like 5 or whatever we're on at this point. I'm not surprised they took the greedy route and just completely ruined another product. This is going to be Conspiracy 2 all over again, where people just open it to get the really expensive cards and they don't give a shit about drafting. Whatever. This is not the first time Wizards has presented something as one thing and then just completely flipped it and it's something completely different. I'm not even surprised. By the way, what's going on with that swamp? What is that, Lord of the Rings language? I mean, I know for a fact that that's not a language they support. It's probably some kind of language. I just don't know what it is because they don't normally print cards in that. It looks kind of Middle Eastern, but it also kind of looks Middle Earthen, you know what I mean? Anyway, next up we got Phyrexian Rager. I have a bunch of these in foil. This is another reprint. 2/2 for 3. Oh, I should probably say what Shieldred does. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that's nice. And then at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. I mean, it's a get out the bomb and win deck, whatever. So anyway, back to Rager. When it enters battlefield, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Good card. So Exarch was already in spoilers, and then Malefic Scythe is from M21. And that ain't the first power card to come from M21 and go directly into the set, despite being released, not even a month apart? So just weird, questionable decisions on Wizards' part here, but whatever. I just don't fundamentally agree with, screw new players, we need money, do a reprint set. Like, cool, we need reprints, but like, call it that. So next up, we got unicorns. I don't think that this is quite enough to be the set. I think you need about 10 cards, 10 unique cards. So I don't think 6 is going to pull it off, but that is the front card. And then when you flip it over, it'll give you a basic description of like the theme of the deck, maybe the history of unicorns, what the deck tends to do, like mechanically, how to play it, kind of. I think that's the vibe they were saying when they first introduced this. So we got Emiel the Blessed, which is a mythic, although it doesn't matter because the print volumes are all the same. It's a 4-cost 4/4, and if you pay 3, exile another target creature you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. Ooh, I mean, yeah, it's not quite unlimited flicker, but it is if you have 3 mana a lot. And then whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, I wonder when that would happen. You may pay 1 hybrid. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on it. If it's a unicorn, put 2 1/1 counters on it instead. There's always some buzz about doing something wacky with this in like Legacy Vintage or Commander or something. You know, just the ability to flicker something for 3. I don't think it's that new to the game, but hey. But next up, we got Blessed Sanctuary. Oh boy, that is every middle school girl's desktop background right there. It's a 5-cost enchantment. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white unicorn creature token. Oh, nice. That's like no joke, even if it wasn't Unicorn Tribal. That's pretty good. Then we got Brightmare, which is a 2/3 for 3. When it enters the battlefield, tap up to 1 target creature. You gain life equal to that creature's power. Oh, that's kind of neat. I like that. See, these unique, like, progress the game a little bit cards. That's the ones I find the most interesting because they're fair and they're interesting and they make a little back and forth in the game, you know, without just being like, haha, ensnaring bridge. You are never going to swing at me ever again in this entire rest of the game. Like, what even screams fun about that? Like, who even approves a card like that? Anyway, Various Steed is next. It's a 3/3 for 5 Vigilance. When it enters battlefield, create a 2/2 Knight with Vigilance. Not bad. It's kind of like a modular 5/5 in 2 parts, so you can block independently. And then we got Faith's Fetters, reprint there. When it enters battlefield, you gain 4 life. You enchant any permanent, and the permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. I like how it's any permanent, because then you could actually pin down a man land if you absolutely had to. So next up, Daybreak Charger. It's a 3/1 for 2, which is always good. And when it enters battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 till end of turn. Nice. I think that one was already spoiled. Then we got a Thriving Land, and next we've got Jumpstart Cats, which really you're gonna show us 3 cats and that's it. Come on, like everybody loves cats. You gotta show us all the cats, Wizards. In fact, the source on this one, according to MythicSpoiler.com, which is where all these are, you should go check it out, was at Wizards_Magic, their Twitter account, and there was like, no, you only get to see 3 cats. Well, if you're going to short someone on the spoilers, might as well short yourself. Anyway, we got Penumbra Bobcat. It's a 2/1 for 3, and when it dies, create a 2/1 black cat creature token. Now, some people might say, if you're going to give it Undying, give it Undying. First of all, it's a little different. And secondly, now people don't have to learn a new word. They just read what it does, and it does that. For a set like this, which was initially supposed to be for lower level newer players, yeah, why not? So then we got Lurking Predators. It's a 6-cost, and whenever an opponent casts a spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put that card on the bottom of your library. That is wild right there. I mean, yeah, it costs 6, but that's wild. And then we've got some of the best art ever made in large, giant Kete attacking the Merfolk settlement, which cats hate water, but we'll get past that. So, you know, it's a 5-cost, and it's sorcery speed, but it's 7/7 and trample, and must be blocked. I mean, that's a fun little combo. That better cost 5 and be sorcery speed. You don't want to start, you know, ambushing somebody in the middle of combat with this. That's ridiculous. So, I mean, I guess looks pretty good so far. Then we got Jumpstart Elves. I think this one they pretty much showed off like the whole thing. So we got Allosaurus Shepherd. It's a mythic. 1-drop 1/1 and it can't be countered. Nice. And then green spells you control can't be countered. Okay, we need more of that in the game because a lot of counter spells are out there ruining everybody's day. If you got such a good control deck, then you should be able to eliminate the things that slip through with some removal too. You can't always have a counter spell. Just saying. Then if you pay 6, each elf creature you control has base power and toughness 5/5 and becomes a dinosaur. Fantastic. If there's one valuable lesson you're going to teach new players, it's that Elf Tribal, aka Elf Ball, is absolute bullshit. Next up, another mythic. It's Crater Hoof Behemoth, a $45 card. Pardon me, a formerly $45 card. So it's an 8-drop, 5/5 haste, and when it enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample and +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Holy crap. I mean, you gotta make Elf Tribal toxic or it's not Elf Tribal, so, you know, sure, put that in. Then we got Elvish Archdruid, I never know how to say that. It's a 2/2 for 3, other elves get +1/+1, had to have a Lord card, of course, and you tap it and add 1 green for each elf you control. Yep, I've seen that before. Might as well give elves unlimited mana too. I mean, on top of it, they are one of the worst tribals I've ever played against. Anybody running Elf Ball is like automatically just about hated by their entire playgroup. I mean, and also, can you see a little bit of a power level difference between this and the other ones that were spoiled today and yesterday? Surprisingly, this is like a $2 card too because it's been printed to death. I'm just waiting for it to get banned. Anyway, next up we got Llanowar Visionary. It enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and then it taps for 1 green. I mean, yeah, it draws a card, but it's still a mana dork for 3. I never did like those. Not even color unlocked. Not that you'd need it in this format. I mean, I'm simultaneously reviewing these for, like, in general, and then, like, in this format. Which I care more about in general. You know, since this is Commander Masters. Anyway, next up we got Dwindon's Elite. 2/2 for 2 when it enters the battlefield. If you control another elf, which of course you do, create a 1/1 another elf. Great, that'll work great with Crater Hoof. Then we've got Ren's Run Vanquisher. A 3/3 for 2. Okay. It's an elf in case you didn't catch that. And as an additional cost to cast this spell, reveal an elf from your hand or pay 3. And then also has Death Touch. My god, is this overpowered compared to the other packs. Next up, Presence of Gond, enchant creature. It has tap, create an elf token. This has to be a joke. Next up, Crushing Canopy. It's a 3-cost instant, destroy creature with flying or target enchantment. Just give me Naturalize or Return to Earth or something else. Then we got Elves Page 2 with Wild Heart Invoker. Pay 8, target creature gets +5/+5 and gains trample until end of turn. Because of course it does. Then we got Leaf Gilder. Just a 2/1 mana dork. You know, generates green. Cool. For 2, by the way. Solid card. Then we got Silhana Wayfinder, which I never realized that was an elf. Okay, that's a 2/1 for 2. When it enters battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land from among them, put it on the top of your library so you don't immediately get it. Then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, rig your next draw. I mean, it's better than putting it straight into hand because it's a draw for 2. Then we got Skyway Sniper. It's a 1-drop 1/2 elf archer with reach. And then if you pay 3, and you can do this without tapping it, you can deal 1 damage to target creature with flying. Well, you have about 70 mana on any given turn, so I mean, yeah, you could probably take out an entire brigade of flyers. Next up, Gear Repair Guide. Reprint, obviously. 3/2 for 3, and if you pay 3, target creature you control can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less this turn. Well, they probably all have trample, so whatever. Next up, Hunter's Edge. Put a 1/1 counter on a target creature you control, then that deals damage equal to its power to a target creature you don't control. Pretty good card. I mean, it's a 4-cost sorcery, but it's a pretty good card. Then we've got Titanic Growth, +4/+4 instant. Everybody knows what that does. And a Grove. This looks insanely synergistic and powerful. So next up we got, this one just says Jumpstart, so I don't know if these are like, we don't know what these are in, or I don't know. They were like spoiled from different sources. Some of them don't have a source, so I don't know what's going on with this. But we have Ravenous Baloth. It's 4/4 for 4. Sacrifice to beast, you gain 4 life. That's almost never worth it. I mean, maybe a 1/1 token or something. Jeez. Then we got Phyrexian Tower. Hello. Yeah, there's 10 to 15 bucks. You can tap it for colorless, or you can tap it, sack a creature, and add 2 black. It's ramp, it doesn't come in tapped, it generates black if you really needed to, and it's an automatic free sack trigger. Pretty rough card, pretty good. Then we got Rise of the Dark Realms, one of my all-time favorite cards. It's so stupid. You take all creatures from all graveyards, all players' graveyards, slap them onto the battlefield under your control permanently. Good luck, it's 9 mana, but if you get it off, damn, and I have. Next up, we got Ghoul Collar Gisa. It's a 3/4 for 5, and if you pay 1 and tap it, sack another creature, create X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, where X is a sacrifice creature's power. And you can do that multiple times. Yeah, that's a $25 card from Commander 2014. So you just take a 5/5 and you turn it into 10/10 worth of zombies. And then probably on top of that, boost zombies and death triggers for zombies and, hit draw effect. Just like, even without tribal, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. So anyway, next up, we got a little actual pack here. It's Jumpstart Dinos. We got Selvala, Heart of the Wilds. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. Okay, kind of narrow there. Kind of neat. If you pay 1 green and tap it, add X mana and any combination of colors where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Oh, that's pretty tasty right there. That could be a lot. In fact, they kind of pulled the little pump the brakes action there, like Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, by making you pay up front to kind of make it like, no, you got to have something big in play to make this worth it. Then again, it's 1. I mean, Nykthos was 2. If you're curious, that land was pay 2, tap it, and add mana equal to your devotion to a color of your choice. But then we've got Gulta, which is a 12/12. We all know it doesn't cost 12. It costs 2. You are going to pay 2 for this. Also, it has Trample. Don't miss that thing. Next up, we got Primal Might, which that's just Gulta. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I mean, seeing them right next to each other. Anyway, it's 1+X. Target creature you control gets +X/+X till end of turn. Then it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. And after eliminating their best blocker, it probably tramples past, because you probably targeted something giant with trample. Anyway, we got Drover the Mighty, good card there. Gets +2/+2 as long as you control a dinosaur, which is good because it's a 1/1 for 2. And then tap it, add 1 mana of any color. Just a good utility card right there. Classic Dino card, makes sense why they put it in there. We got Savage Stomp. The spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a dino, because of course it does. I mean, you do have to slam 2 of these packs together, but still. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, then that creature fights target creature you don't control. So it's a true fight, you actually take damage. Much, much, much worse than, deals damage equal to its power. Still a damn good card. I mean, on a dinosaur it costs 1, you get to keep the 1/1 counter if it survives, just saying. Then we got Crushing Canopy, again. Then we got Colossal Dreadmaw, again. What is this, like the 5th reprint of that damn thing? What the hell? It's a 6/6 trampler for 6. Wow, dinosaur, great, cool. Then we got Thundering Spineback, 5/5 for 7. Other dinos get +1/+1. A little late for that, but it's still good. And then if you pay 6, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with Trample. And moving on, it's still dinosaurs here. We got New Horizons, enchant a land, put a 1/1 counter on something, and add 2 mana by tapping 1 land. Then we got Garruk's Uprising. When it enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample. Oh, that's annoying. And when a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. And this is an M21 card. Just like also apparently Drowsing Tyrannodon it is. Okay. I'm glad they finally showed what the translated English one is. Well, we've already seen that. We know it does. Cultivate, another M21 card. So is Thrashing Brontodon. We've seen Titanic Growth. Ordinary Dilophosaur we've already seen, and Cetizen Training we've already seen. So moving on to the tail end here, we do have Araska Frillback, which is a 4/2 for 3. It was already spoiled yesterday, though. And then we got Commune with Dinosaurs. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a dino or a land card, put it in your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So a lot more powerful than that other card, just like it. Then let's move on to Jumpstart Well Read. It's going to be probably Merfolk and Sphinx heavy, it looks like, probably. I don't know. We got Ormos Archive Keeper. That's a brand new card. It's a 5/5 flyer for 6, and if you would draw a card while your opponent has no cards in it, instead put 5 1/1 counters on Ormos Archive Keeper, and that is instead, so by rule you don't lose the game. And then if you pay 3, discard 3 cards with different names, draw 5 cards. Well, you better really not want some of those cards or all those cards, because that's a hell of a gamble, but I mean, you do get 5, and you get to kind of mow through your library pretty quick there, and these are only 40-card libraries. So can you imagine that? Activate that, discard 3 cards, draw 5, and instead you drop 25 counters on it and then swing in the air as a 30/30. I think it's safe to say the game's over at that point. Next up, we got a reprint of Rhystic Study. Oh boy. That is a $30 card, and I'm pretty sure these boosters are probably going to be $3.99. I mean, like I said, this is just Eternal Masters. I mean, at a certain point, they said, screw fairness, screw appropriate power levels. We're just going to dump stuff that people need in here. A lot of it's kind of high mana, though, so I'm getting the impression from this, even like some of the so-so cards cost like 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be whoever gets the least mana screwed wins the games. But I had heard initially from a statement made from the staff outside of the first announcement that these are going to have an above average amount of lands if the deck seems to be appropriate. So basically, if anything in the deck costs 6, it's probably going to be 50% lands. So you'll get there a lot quicker than a draft or a normal standard constructed deck. So anyway, this Berserk-ass card is whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 1. Damn! That is truly and sincerely ridiculous. So the amount of draw power in this well-read thing is, I'm sure it's fair and self-contained, but then when you mix it with another pack, it almost doesn't matter what that pack is. You are going to just like double the power of it. You're going to get lands faster, you're going to get creatures faster, and you're going to get power faster. So this one's dangerous. So next up we got Mystic Archaeologist. It's a 2/1 for 2, and if you pay 5, you draw 2 cards. Okay, pretty fair. And then read the runes. 1 blue plus X, draw X cards. For each card drawn this way, discard a card unless you sacrifice a permanent. Damn, harsh. Then we've got a famous reprint here, Arcana Encyclopedia. It's a 3-drop. You pay 3, tap it, draw a card. Then we got Capture Sphere. You can flash it in and just pin down a creature. Then we got Narcolepsy. 2-cost aura, does pretty much the same thing except with just tapping. In response to them attempting to tap it every upkeep, you could tap it for an ability or mana or whatever though, but it's kind of tight. And then moving on with well-read, we've got Cloud Reader Sphinx. It's a 3/4 for 5 flying when it enters battlefield, scry 2. Okay. Then we got Tolarian Kraken, we've already seen it. Erratic Visionary, 1/3 for 2, pay 2, tap, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay. Then we got Library Larcenist, we already saw that. Rousing Reed, I don't know if we saw. It is in M21. In fact, all the rest of these are in M21. We all know what Op does. So then we got Rune Servitor. When it dies, each player draws a card. I mean, pretty bold, but have you seen very many creatures in this pack yet? I mean, I'll take anything. Then we got Suspicious Bookcase. That is just the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. It's a 0/4 for 2. It has Defender, and if you pay 3, target creature can't be blocked this turn. They should have just called it Bookshelf of Thassa. Anyway, we got Curiosity. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Fantastic card. Makes it a bit of a target, but, put it on a flyer unblocked guy or something. Hey. Then we got Onirophage. It's a 1/2 for 4 with flying, but whenever you draw a card, put a counter on it. Ooh, not as good as Nadir Kraken, but pretty close. Next up, now this is just mind-blowing. We've got the Basri Jumpstart pack, which he's like brand new in M21, and that's literally his M21 mythic right there. I've got to say, very unexpected turn of events here. So this entire front page is from M21 except for Knight of the Tusk, which is 3/7 for 6 with Vigilance, but we already saw that. So, but yeah, on the next page is just more M21 stuff. So you've already seen the spoilers for this. You already know what they do. I mean, you probably haven't memorized it, but it's just I'm not going to read them twice. Next up, we've got one that's just called Walls. I mean, I already see Assault Formation, but that seems like a bit of a bold all-in kind of thing. And it's green, so we're not going to see Hover Barrier, which is a shame because I love that card. So first we got Towering Titan, though. That ain't no wall. It's it enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it, where X is the total toughness of other creatures you control. Damn, and that's persistent. That does not scale as they get blown up and stuff. And then sacrifice a creature with Defender. All creatures gain trample until end of turn. Hello. And then the flavor text is just knock knock, which just absolutely works with the art. That is hilarious. I mean, that seems pretty powerful. I'm just saying that might be worth a little bit of money in the right deck. It's still a 6-drop, but, Then Assault Formation, we already know what this does. All creatures that you control hit with their toughness instead of their power. Pay 1, drop Defender on something. Pay 3, creatures you control get +1 toughness till end of turn. Also known as +1 attack. I've always found this strategy when people play it to be such a gimmick. It either gets shut down by 1 or 2 spells or it doesn't. Like, one time I countered the guy's Assault Formation, he just forfeit on the spot. I've never found that to be a particularly good or healthy for the game strategy. But new players like gimmicks. It's like, oh, I've got all giant walls and nothing's getting through, and all of a sudden, whoa, I can swing for 30. Okay, whatever, if that's what you want to do. So we got a Overgrown Battlement, which is, of course, a reprint. It's a Defender, 4 for 2, and you can tap and add 1 green mana for each creature with Defender you control. Amazing card. Next up, Wall of Blossoms. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and it's just a 0/4 Defender, 4/2. Wall, of course. And did you notice these are all either walls or plants or both? They might do something with that. So then we got Portcullis Vine. That's an M21 spoiler, but I don't remember seeing that. So anyway, it's a Defender, 1 cost, 0/3, pay 2, sack a creature with Defender, draw a card. So, okay. Then we got Grave Bramble. It's a 3/4 for 3, reprint of course, and it has protection from zombies, which is weirdly specific considering 1 pack archetype should have zombies, maybe 2. Plus, it's only 1 card. The chances that you'll have this in play, that it'll have a meaningful impact on the game, and that your opponent will even generate a zombie in the game, and that their deck will even be running zombies, this is like a 1% effective card. That said, it's a 3/4 wall for 3. Who cares? Then we got Wall of Vines. It's a 0/3 for 1 Defender with Reach. Pretty good. I mean, you know what I always say, it ain't a wall tell that hits 5 toughness, but they wanted to keep it real. We got Crushing Canopy again, then we got Gargoyle Sentinel, this is the same set, by the way. 3/3 Defender, and then if you pay 3, it loses Defender and gains Flying. I remember playing with that. It was fun in the draft. Then we got Roving Keep, another reprint. This is pretty wild. This is pretty recent, too. It's a 5/7 for 7 with Defender, and if you pay 7, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn and gains Trample. It can attack as though it didn't have Defender. Nice. And then we got Warmonger's Chariot. It's a 2-cost equipment. Okay, equipped creature gets +2/+2. As long as equipped creature has Defender, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. And then equip 3. So you got some options there. It's not all relying on Assault Formation. This still seems like a really gimmicky, weird, dumb deck. Moving on, we've got Seismic, and it has Grim Lavamancer. Oh boy, that's a big reprint. Haven't seen it in a while, but it is $2.50. I mean, people play this card. It's a 1/1 for 1 human wizard, and if you pay 1 and tap it, exile 2 cards from your graveyard, and it deals 2 damage to any target. Yeah, classic burn card for 2 there. It's a lot of ongoing damage over time there. Then we got Volcanic Fallout. This spell can't be countered, deals 2 damage to each creature and each player. Okay, that might be devastating, might not. Then we got Magma Jet reprint there. Everybody remembers this, 2 damage in Scry 2. Then we got Magma Quake. I think that's the original artwork, too. It deals X damage to each creature without flying and each planeswalker. There you go, for double red plus X. Considering it's in red, I just like the card Windstorm more, because it's the exact same thing with flyers, and it's in green, which is weak against, flyers. Anyway, next up we got Seismic Elemental. It's a 5-cost 4/4, and when it enters battlefield, creatures without flying can't block this turn. Ooh. They do not like creatures on the ground with this thing. Then we got Spitting Earth. It deals damage to target creature equal to the number of mountains you control. Okay, classic card there. Then we got Ashmouth Hound. 2/1 for 2, Elemental Doggo. And when it blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, it deals 1 damage to that creature. And this is the first time we'll ever see this card with Elemental Dog instead of Elemental Hound. Hound has been, of course, officially errated to Dog. Next up in the same pack, we got Bloodrock Cyclops, a 3/3, where he attacks each combat of Fable, which, considering it's a 3/3 vanilla for 3, is not very good. I guess I had to give it some downside. This is a pretty good deck here. I guess you'd be blowing away all the creatures and making room for them is the theory, I guess. Then we got Molten Ravager. It's a 0/4 for 3, and it gets +1 attack until end of turn, so partial fire breathing. I think that is true fire breathing, actually, yeah, to add only attack. Never did like fire breathing. You get a lot of damage for your mana, and you can do it over and over and over. So it's kind of like a burn spell, except it never goes away, which means, a little pushing the power level kind of hard there. We already seen Volcanic Geyser. It's an M21. And then Cinder Elemental. It's a 2/2 for 4. And if you pay X plus red, sacrifice Cinder Elemental. It deals X damage to any target. Ooh, a creature with like a Bane Fire ability or whatever you want to call it. Cool, except it's a 2/2 for 4. So in the meantime, it's barely a creature, and it's more of a liability, because if while this thing's tapped or while you don't have any mana, they blow it up, well, there goes your spell, but, whatever. And then we've got Archaeology, Scholar of the Lost Trove. Oh boy, it's another Sphinx. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant sorcery or artifact card from your graveyard, without paying its mana cost. What? I mean, this does cost 7, though, so, If an instant or sorcery spell cast this way would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. Hey, what a concept. That's what every single recurring graveyard thing should say. I don't care what the card is. Every single one of those should have that written on it. So next up we got Archaeomender. It's a 2/3 for 3, and when it enters battlefield, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. That would be an Archaeomender, if not an Archaeomancer. Then we got Vidalcan Archmage, big reprint here. Everybody remembers this thing. It's a 0/2 for 4, and when you cast an artifact spell, draw a card. Yep. Hey, did you know that some Vidalcan, including this one, only have 5 fingers, but Dovin Bond and some other Vidalcans have 6 fingers? So this hasn't been seen except in every artifact deck ever since Mirrodin, and it's a $14 card currently. So yeah, you start tossing Ornithopters, yeah. I've seen decks where they'll play like X, summons just for 0 just to keep it going. They have like ETB triggers, death triggers. Yeah, you can get degenerate with this thing here. Then we got Sharding Sphinx. It's a 4/4 for 6 flying. When an artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may create a 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature token with flying. I mean, why would they say blue? I mean, every 1/1 Thopter I've ever seen is just a 1/1 Thopter. Now all of a sudden we need a new token for blue Thopter. Like, as if it matters. I know that Feat of Resistance was printed, but like, really? You're going to print a brand new thing in a half-colorless set? Whatever, they could have a red, white, and blue Thopter for all I care. Next up, we got a totally colorless Scarecrow. It's a 3-cost 1/2 Scarecrow, and, get that Scarecrow tribal going. I mean, somebody did it. I know for a fact somebody did it. If you pay 1, sacrifice a Scarecrow, draw a card. Oh god, this is Scarecrow tribal, isn't it? Oh, not that I'm looking at, but hey. Then if you pay 4 and tap it, return target artifact creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. So a lot of artifacts going away, a lot of artifacts coming back. I bet it all has to do with Meteor Golem. But first we got Thirst for Knowledge. It's a 3-cost instant. Draw 3 cards and discard 2 unless you discard an artifact, which you could pretty easily bring back from the graveyard. I'm starting to see this energy here. Hopefully you are too. Then we got Dreamstone Hedron. It's a 6-cost. You can drop it in, and it is not technically a creature despite the artwork kind of looking creature-ish, so you could immediately tap it for generating 3 colorless, and then if you pay 3 and tap it, you can sacrifice this card and then draw 3 cards. That looks like an Eldrazi. The word Hedron's in it. Yeah, you would use this to summon Eldrazi Titans. Or Meteor Golem. It's basically 1 turn delayed ramp, so yeah, you'd have enough to get to 7 if you had 6, so obviously. But yeah, Meteor Golem, it's a 3/3 for 7. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target non-land permanent of your choice, and then somehow get this killed, then do it again, resurrect it. Next up, Juggernaut. Classic old card here. It's a 5/3 for 4. It attacks each combat if able, and it can't be blocked by walls. Sorry, wall deck, he ain't having it. Then we got Scuttlemutt. Love this card. It's a 2/2 for 3, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, but you can also tap it and target creature becomes the color or colors of your choice until end of turn. I'm sure that'll be relevant because this seems to be a Colors Matter deck. And then we got Chromatic Sphere, by the way, which is a 1-drop, and you can pay 1, tap it, and sacrifice it, and then add 1 mana of any color, and then draw a card. So a filter with a 1-time card draw. What a pointless card. Unless you're getting triggers off the rest of that, it's pretty dumb. Then we got Terrarion. I remember this card. It's a 1-drop artifact. It enters the battlefield tapped, and then if you pay 2, tap it, sacrifice Terrarion, add 2 mana in any combination of colors, and when it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Then we got Lightning Core Excavator, aka Iron Giant Jr. It's a 0/3 for 1, and if you pay 5, sacrifice it. It deals 3 damage to any target. Gotta love that self-destruct. Speaking of that, Aether Spellbomb. Now, before they removed the Greek character from it, or whatever the hell it is, it was Aether Spellbomb, but now that says Aether Spellbomb, so I'm gonna say Aether Spellbomb. They changed it because online card indexing and like selling platforms couldn't handle like a non-English, non-Latin character or whatever, and I just find that hilarious, so they just changed it to say Aether, so I'm gonna say Aether. That's the joke. Don't like upgrade your system to support Unicode or anything. I mean, what is it, like, after 1999? So anyway, if you drop it in, then pay 1 blue, sacrifice it, return target creature to its owner's hand, and then if you pay 1, sacrifice Aether Spellbomb, draw a card. Kind of gives you a little bit of an option there until you really, really need a card, and it's pretty cheap. Not the best Spellbomb. There's more expensive, better ones out there, but it's kind of neat. And then we got Ancestral Statue. It's a 3/4 for 4, and when it enters the battlefield, return a non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. It does not say may. Now you get that Meteor Golem going again. Then we got Short Sword. Yay! It's the 1-drop, 1 equip, +1/+1 equipment. Love it. This kind of seems to be like an assistive pack for like any other pack, which is cool. Then we got Jousting Dummy, by the way. It's a 2/1 for 2, and if you pay 3, it gets +1/+0 till end of turn. Neat. It's like Fire Breathing, except fair and balanced and appropriately costed. Then we got Signpost Scarecrow. Told you it was Scarecrow Tribal. You thought I was kidding. It's a 2/4 for 4, Vigilance, and you can pay 2 and add 1 mana of any color. 1. You pay 2, you get 1. Clearly this was meant to be mixed with some of the 5-color sets, but, good luck getting those opened together. The odds are not in your favor. So next up, Buried Rune. It's a land. You can tap it for colorless, and if you pay 2, sack it, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. And then, nice, we get a blue Thriving Isle. Okay. Pretty appropriate power level compared to some of the other ones we've seen. Then we got Jumpstart Lightning. Now, this was on Facebook. I think it was on Wizards Facebook, so they're only showing us part of it. I mean, if they're only going to short themselves on the spoilers, whatever. Pretty sure they handed over, like, here's 30 cards to, like, some people, and then other people, they're like, here's 4. Deal with it. But some of them, they did it to themselves. So anyway, the only 3 we know are Lightning Phoenix, which is a Flying Haste 2/2 for 3. It can't block, and at the beginning of your end step, if an opponent was dealt 3 or more damage this turn, you may pay 1 red. If you do, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. I mean, it's end step. It gives your opponent a little bit of time. only hits for 2. I mean, this is how you print a fair Phoenix card anyway. Next up we got Lightning Visionary, 2/1 for 2 with Prowess, just straight up Minotaur Shaman Prowess. Strangely not a reprint. Then we got Living Lightning. It's a 3/2 for 4 Elemental Shaman, and whenever Living Lightning dies, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Ooh, that's a good way to get revenge. You still have to pay for the spell. I kind of like effects like that give you a second shot at it, where it's not just, oh, the spell has flash. Well, cool, then I get to cast it twice. Like, you need these little situations, especially where it's like, oh, if something bad happened to you, here's something good to make up for it. I love cards like that. As I smack the crap out of the mic. Next up, we got one that's just called Jumpstart Lands. I hope it's a Landfall, but I'm just kind of cruising through. No, it's not. Cool, thanks. Landfall was such a good mechanic. The last time Standard constructed was amazing was when Origins came out. And then ever since, it's been getting worse and worse and worse. So anyway, first up, we got Ulvenwald Hydra. And it has reach, it's 6 costs, and its power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control, which is a little high for 6, but hey. And then when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, and shuffle your library. Okay, I mean, that's an appropriately powered Hydra, which is why not many people played this when it was legal. It saw some traction, but it was brief. Anyway, we got Oracle of Moldiah. It's a 2/2 for 4, and you may play an additional land on each of your turns. I bet this pack has like 12 lands in it. Then play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play land cards from the top of your library. Holy hell. And by the way, this is an elf. The next one's an elf. If you mix this with the elf tribal one, you have got probably the most powerful pack, or deck, or what I guess you would say, in this entire set. I'm convinced of that. You mix card draw with ramp with like elf tribal. Oh. So anyway, next up we got Sylvan Ranger for some reason. It's a 1/1/2 elf. Yay. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. I think every time you fetch a land, you're gonna have to shuffle. So making new people shuffle when they're not used to shuffling in sleeves, not very new player friendly. Just saying, not a problem on digital, except that the shuffler is a piece of crap, but yeah, in paper it's a little bit problematic. Next up, we do have a reprint of Fertilid already, though. Hello. Or I should say, another reprint of Fertilid. It's a 0/0 for 3, but it enters with 2 counters. You can pay 2, remove a counter, go get a land, slap it into play. Tapped, by the way. There is a couple cards that bring lands in from your library directly into play untapped, but they tend to cost a lot of mana, and there's not many of them. Next up, we got Feral Hydra. Okay, clearly, that's a Honey Badger. Anyway, it's a 0/0, 1 plus X cost, and then it enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. Pretty standard Hydra. And then if you pay 3, put a counter on it. Any player may activate this ability. Why would any player, other than you, possibly put a counter on it for you? Why? If it said other players can activate this for 0, it would be hilarious, because then they could have, 5, 6, 7 mana that says, like, destroy target creature, and then its opponent takes damage equal to its power or something, or you draw cards equal to its power, you can slap, like, 20 on there, draw half your deck. But I cannot possibly see a reason that anybody except in multiplayer as, like, a gift to you, like a peace offering, would do this. Now, for the record, this was in Arch Enemy, which makes sense, and then it was reprinted in Battle Bond, which makes sense. But it doesn't make sense to put it in this at all. I mean, unless I guess they could say, oh, it's multiplayer now, but that's just really confusing to new people. I mean, just like the whole I'm going to vote you off the island survivor crap that goes on, that in itself is not that friendly to new people just trying to figure out how their damn deck works. Let alone, like, the math and the strategy, and if I do this, then they'll do this, and it doesn't resemble normal play. That is... No. Oh my gosh, this was also from Shards of Alara? What? Why? Anyway, next up we've got Woodborne Behemoth. It's a 4/4 for 5, and as long as you control 8 or more lands, Woodborne Behemoth gets +4/+4 in trample. Nice. But going back to Feral Hydra, it's $1. It's $1 reprint. It was $1 before the reprint. Who was like, we are in dire need of more copies of this? It already hit $1. Oh my god, I can't afford $1 in my multiplayer commander. Like, what? Anyway, next up we got Awakener Druid. It's a 1/1 for 3, and when it enters battlefield, target forest becomes a 4/5 giant treefolk creature for as long as this remains on the battlefield. It's still a land. Well, I mean, it's a 1/1. I mean, whatever. Next up we've got Vastwood Zendikar. It's a aura, you enchant land, and the land is a 6/4 green elemental creature for 5 mana. Wow, it's still a land, and when enchanted land dies, return that card to its owner's hand. Ooh. So you taking a big risk. You run into somebody who's like, huh, and has Death Touch till end of turn. Boom, you just lost a creature and a land. I mean, you're really doubling down, so this is a little bit safer way to do it. And by the way, 4 toughness for 5 mana? Yeah, you better get that back. Next up, Zendikar's Royal. Oh, I remember this card. Hell to the yes. This was manual landfall right here. Whenever a land card enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 green elemental creature token. Hell yeah. Oh, I played this shit. Next up, we got Spore Mound. It's a 3/3 for 5. Whenever land enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 sapperling. Okay. I mean, it's a creature. It's a 3/3. It's more exposed than Royal, and it generates half as good creatures. Kind of funny to put those right next to each other. Next up, we got, I don't know how to pronounce that, but that lady Seer. It's a 1/1 for 2. It is blurry as hell for some reason, and if you tap it and draw a card and reveal it, if it isn't a land card, discard it. Ooh, vicious. I legit would not want that in my deck. I mean, if it's, oh, here's this hyper powerful card I might need. Here's Zendikar's Royal. Oh, well, ditch it. I mean, the other card says play with your, like, thing, your top card flipped up, so, like, whatever, but still, that's bad. Next up, we got Wildheart Invoker. It's a 4/3 for 4. Pay 8, and target creature gets +5/+5 and gains trample until end of turn. So not just this creature, but any target creature. Pretty tasty, and it costs 8. Then we got Elemental Uprising. Target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental with haste until end of turn. It's still a land. It must be blocked this turn if able. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I would have went straight landfall and overpriced spells, but whatever. So we're getting near the end here. We're not really. I think we're like a third of the way through them or half or something. But a lot of the like full packs that they revealed today were already in, like 90% or more spoiled yesterday. So I'm not going to just be like, oh yeah, skip, here's a new card. I mean, there's 620, 30, 40 cards in this or something approaching that. I'm going to have to skip some. So anyway, we got Talrand's Invocation for 4 mana. You get 2/2 Flying Drakes. Cool. Tokens, yeah. Then we got Talrand's Sky Summoner, 2/2 for 4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create the same 2/2 blue Flying Drake. Cool. Then we got Wizard's Retort. Fun one there. It's a counter spell, but it costs 1 less if you control a wizard. Counter any spell at all. Fantastic card. Kinda did need a reprint, actually. It's been pretty recent. Then we got Winged Words. Y'all know what this does. It's in standard right now. Draws cards. Costs less if a flyer. Then a Storm Sculptor. Neat. Okay, we got a 3/2 for 4. It can't be blocked. And when it enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. Does not say may. Good card, though. Then we got Seagate Oracle. This one's pretty wild. I remember this. 1/3 for 3. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand, the other onto the bottom of your library. Yeah, decent card. Then we got Sage's Rose Savant. It's a 2/1 for 2. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. Neat. Kind of weak, but, get you going. Get you to the cards you need. Then we got Peel from Reality. Instant speed 2-drop, or 2 cost. Return target creature you control and target creature you don't control to their owner's hand. One of the worst bounce spells ever printed. For 2 at instant speed in blue, you have to take one of your own cards with it. I mean, I think Unsummon costs 1, and you don't have to take one of your creatures with it. Anyway, we've also got Exclusion Mage, which is, 2/2/3 trampoline card, enters the battlefield, boom, return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand, bye-bye. Then we got Crookclaw Transmuter, it's a 3/1 for 4, flash flying, and when it enters the battlefield, switch target creature's power and toughness till end of turn. Ooh, that would be such a good ambush if he didn't have 1 toughness. So no matter what, he's getting killed, but I guess you could, flip it and block with something else. It's odd. It's an odd creature, that's for sure. That said, it's 3 damage in the air from then on for 4 mana. Hey. Then we got a card that's apparently really hard to say, so I'm going to slow way down. Riptide Laboratory. There we go. You should have heard the other takes. So anyway, you can tap it for 1 colorless, or you can pay 1 plus a blue and return target wizard you control to its owner's hand. Yeah, you do that to Exclusion Mage, you're just going to sit there and trampoline it over and over and over without really doing anything productive. But then we got Befuddle, which is -4 attack till end of turn, draw card. Boy, this is just the annoy the hell out of your opponent deck, isn't it? Then we got Vampires. So first up, instead of Sanguine Bond, we actually have Exquisite Blood, the other card in that unbelievable combo. I looked this one up. This one's really expensive. Oh yeah, holy crap, it's only been printed once, ever. I thought it at least was in a master set. No, it was in Avacyn Restored, period. So this was a $35 card. Holy crap. So whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Pretty insane card, but it does cost 5. Next up, we have Sangromancer, 3/3 for 4, flying, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you may gain 3 life. And whenever an opponent discards a card, you may also gain 3 life. Couldn't they have just put or and put it all in one line? Anyway, next up we got Drana, Liberator of Malakir. Crazy powerful card. This is a 2/3 flyer for 3, legendary, flying first strike, and when it deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on each attacking creature you control. Keep in mind, this has first strike. So first you hit them, then you put a counter on all other attackers, then you go to regular damage phase. So they all get bigger before combat fully resolves. I have had a lot of people devastatingly screw that up. Not a very friendly combo to be played by new people, and not very friendly to play against new people. But, well, this is Eternal Master 7 or whatever. Next up, classic Semgear Vampire. It's a 5 cost 4/4 flyer. Wow, the whole damn deck is flying, isn't it? Whenever a creature dealt damage by Semgear Vampire this turn dies, put a 1/1 counter on Semgear Vampire. And there are better cards than this, but it's a classic. It's pretty good. It was a lot better back in the day, though. Next up, we got Falconwrath Noble. It's a 2/2 for 4 flyer, of course. And whenever Falconwrath Noble or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then you yo-yo the triggers with Exquisite Blood. Anyway, next up we got Gifted Aetherborn. This card was insane. This was like a $6 uncommon when it was legal. It's a 2/3 for 2 with Death Touch and Lifelink. And it's also Vampire. I don't think I built a black deck that this didn't go in. I actually have 2 full binder pages of this card. Anyway, next up we got Bloodbound Vampire. It's a 3/3 for 4. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on it. You know the other pack variations? Yeah, this is like 10 power levels ahead of those. So moving on to the same one, we got Bloodholst, 3/3 for 5, pay 2, sacrifice another creature, put a 1/1 counter on it, and gain 2 life. Not very good compared to the rest of the deck, but not terrible. Then we got Blood Artist, 0/1 for 2. Whenever Blood Artist or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So it's basically Aristocrats without the white mix. Oh boy. Then we got Vampire Neonate, 0/3 for 1, and if you pay 2 and tap it, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Very annoying card, I remember playing with it. Then we got Calistria Nightwatch, 4/5 for 5. Whenever you gain life, it gains flying until end of turn, but you basically have to do it before your main phase, or before combat, pardon me. Still a 4/5 though, don't forget Ally Tribal, oh boy. Then we got Mark of the Vampire, classic card here, enchant creature, gets +2/+2 and has lifelink. Last Gasp we saw yesterday, then we got Eternal Thirst, oh that's bringing me back, hello. Enchant creature, it has lifelink, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a 1/1 counter on it. So lifelink, and it gets bigger. That can get out of control real quick. That said, this is kind of like Sunbond, except a million times weaker, and that new M21 card is less mana than Sunbond. Just to give you like a little relative, power level here. That new card is just completely unforgivable. Then we got Hija de la Noche, of course, it's 2/1 for 2, lifelink. This is a solid set. So next up we got Tree Hugging. Boy, I thought we were already done. It's a Verdant Embrace, enchant creature, it gets +3/+3 and has at the beginning of each upkeep create a 1/1 green sapling creature token. Wow, without having to do anything. Just don't lose the creature, and this costs 5, so it's actually pretty appropriate. Then we have Soul of the Harvest, big reprint here. It's a 6/6 trampler for 6, and whenever a non-token creature enters battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Okay, we got cheaper ways of doing that, but it's still nice. I don't know why I'm comparing this to standard, but next up we got Primordial Sage. It's a 4/5 for 6, and whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. Okay, I see what they're doing. Then we got Nature's Way. Target creature you control gains vigilance and trample till end of turn, then it deals just damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control, and then it proceeds to definitely swing. Crazy good card from Standard's recent history. Then we got Wall of Blossoms, Defender 0/4 for 2. When it enters battlefield, draw a card. I think it was in that wall deck. Then we got Wild Size, 3 cost instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample till end of turn and then draw a card. Not that wild of a size, but it's pretty big. Then we got Explorer, which is you pay 2 sorcery. You may play an additional land this turn, draw a card, which is not the Explore mechanic. And then we've got the most printed card in the set, apparently Crushing Canopy. And page 2, we got Ambassador Oak. It's a 3/3 for 4, and when it enters battlefield, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Boy, we won't want to mix that with elves. And then Aggressive Urge, pay 2, instant. Target creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn and draw a card. Not very big or good boosts, but, solid set. And that is it. Anything past this, it was pretty much just like we saw it yesterday, so I'm not going to dig into it. So there's a couple newer ones if you want to take a look, but none of them are real important. None of them caught my eye, kind of skimming. So that's it for today. I suspect we have 300 or 400 left to go, so holy hell. So anyway, thanks for watching. This should be a very interesting set. I am now 1,000,000% more interested in the box EV and the value and stuff. I think that's going way more into people's purchase decisions than how fun this is to play with. Since you really need 2 people to play, and it's really like an F&M before or after, between rounds kind of thing, you know, or a pre-release like between rounds or dropout kind of thing. Did they have COVID in mind and adjusted this and threw in money? I think it would still be a little bit too early to finalizing it, but I mean, I think the latest they've ever finalized something is 10 weeks to print. And a set this big, you just throw something in and it won't throw off the balance that much. I mean, do these look balanced to you? There's 3 of these that stand out as way more powerful than the rest, just saying. So I think this won't even be that fun to play, which makes me suspect that they threw just gigantic overpowered money cards in just so people would buy it anyway. I don't know, whatever. What else is new? They do that with everything. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.